sing that song, but you'll have a chance to burn yourself because we're going to do it with candles and everything, which is always fun. We are not having service Christmas Day. Does everyone understand that? Okay, it's Sunday morning. We are not having service Christmas Day. We're having candlelight service Saturday evening at 6 o'clock. And if you show up here on Sunday and there's no one here, just drop your offering at the door. No, but if you come on that day and like, where's everyone? I announced it. All right, so tell your friends, tell your family. Saturday night, 6 p.m., we're having the Christmas outreach through the day, and then that evening we're having the candlelight service, nothing on Sunday. Okay? So what do you guys doing on Christmas? Nothing. I don't know what you just said. What are you doing Christmas Eve? What time? 6 p.m. You guys are awesome. All right. Good to go. We're going to be in Luke chapter 1 today. Luke chapter 1. I've had some discussions here recently with some people, and I love the response I've gotten from them. But before we dive in, let's go ahead and say a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, God, we give you once again this time. Lord, we thank you for each heart that is here. Lord, so excited to be able to dive into your word. Lord, would you just help us today to understand just how relevant it is to our everyday life. God, help us to know, Lord, that you're in control and we can rest in you even during this darkest time of the year. In your name we pray. Amen. So I've had some discussions with people lately, and the question I tend to ask them is, hey, how are you doing? Which is a fair question, and a lot of people ask that. And I found that many times that people lie to me when they respond. So if I said, hey, how are you doing? They're like, good. I'm like, oh, good. So tell me what's good. They're like, well, I lost my job. You know, I'm getting evicted from my house. My car won't work anymore. And I'm like, okay, you just told me everything's good. They're like, yeah, it's terrible. Things are just not going well at all. So many times when we talk to people, we ask that question, and we find out that things really aren't so good. But many times we also find that there's usually one or two things that consume us. And there are actually there's many things that are actually good things that are going on in our lives. So, in speaking with people, one thing that stuck with me this past week was, I asked him, how you doing? And he said, I'm living a dream. And I said, what? He goes, I'm living the dream. I said, okay, tell me about living the dream. And he was going through, and he has goals that he has in his life, and these goals are starting to come true, and he's starting to see these goals take place, and it sounds like he's actually living the dream that he wants to go through. I asked another guy, how you doing? He says, I'm living the life. I said, well, what's the life? What does that mean? And he went through and he was sharing all the different things, these goals that he had from before, and how he had written all of these down, and he looked at it, and sure enough, his life was going pretty well. Now, did they still have struggles? Absolutely. Were there still things that were beating them up, or they, financially or relationally, whatever it might have been? Absolutely. But they were living the dream and living the life. So, one night, I'm out with my son, and I have 4 kids, so that you know, and one of them is now 16. And at 16, there's this crazy thing that takes place where we all of a sudden decide in our society that our kids are now eligible to drive a motor vehicle, and eventually they're going to do that on their own. And so this night, my 16-year-old son and I are taking a ride, and we're dropping off a friend of his. Now, many times, just so that you know, when you go to teach your son how to drive, with your first kid, you're really kind of attentive. With your second kid, you're pretty attentive. By the third kid, it's not so much. If you have 4 more, like I'm already considering for Becca just to make a cutout and just to put it in the passenger seat and just let her go. All right? And then when they pull me over, they pull the wallet out of the pocket and hand the police officer. But we kind of lax with our kids the older that they get and the more kids that we have. I have friends of mine that have 7 kids. I have no idea what they even did with the 5th, 6th, and 7th one. I came from 8. I don't remember my parents ever being in the car with me, but I'm assuming they were because I actually have a valid driver's license. So we're in the driveway. We've just dropped a friend of his off. It's late at night. It's going to be a school night, so they have to go to school the next day. When I say late at night, it was like 10:15, 10:20, but late enough that people for a school night will be going to sleep. And we're sitting in the driveway, and on the left side are 2 cars, and then there's this one lane. And all of a sudden, as he puts the car in reverse, he decides that this is the time for him to have a conversation with me while stepping on the gas all the way to the ground. At least that's what it felt like. So we're flying backward as he's talking to me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, Nathan, slow down. And he said, what? And hit it, and boom, we just stopped clean. Boom, that's it. Relax a little bit. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm backing out of the driveway. But you're looking at me. You're not even looking behind us. He's like, Dad, it's okay. Dad, I got this. We're cool. We're good to go. He puts the foot on the gas, now I hit again, and this is all I hear. Zzz, zzz, and I look at him, and the car's not going backward. And I go, put it in drive. It's not going forward. And I realize we are stuck after hours in my friend's driveway. And all I could think was, I'm living the dream. I am living the life. And so he looked at me, and he gives you that look that when you're teenagers, they get caught and they realize, oh, this is not good. It was one of these. As he's sitting there, and I did one of these. Which was really, really good for me, by the way. Because 2 kids ago, it probably would have been strangled, and with one kid ago, it would have been yelling and screaming, whatever it might have been. So I've come a long way in living my dream and living the life. Now, here's the thing. I'm so grown, right? Hey, your kids are coming. Remember that. You're calling me. And I'm going to have fun with it. All right, so here we are. We're sitting there. We can't move. We can't go forward. We can't go backward. And now you've got to put everything in motion. So you have to call a tow truck. You got to let mom know you're stuck. You have to let your brothers and sisters know they're stuck because they have to post it on social media to make fun of them wherever they go, right? And so I had literally had to have my one son, I had to call him up. He didn't take his car, of course, so he had to get 2 of his friends to come and get us. So I called the tow truck. He comes to get his brother, and of course they get out, and they're college students now, so they get out, puffing their chests out. They're like, Dad, we'll pick up the van. We'll just move it over for you. And I'll remind you, he's only got one arm right now because we go back to the doctor tomorrow. He's like, it's no problem. I'm like, well, why don't you get in and you drive it backward, and I've got 2 arms, so let me get in. He's like, okay, no problem. So we all get out there, and he goes and put it in reverse, and we rev it up. That van's not moving. And so he gets down onto the ground because I haven't done this yet, and he puts the flashlight on it, and he gets up and he goes, you're stuck. Thank you for the guidance from my 18-year-old son, because I had no clue. He's like, we'll just take him home. I'm like, good plan, because that's where we started to begin with. So now they leave, and so I'm left with just me and my hazards on in my friend's driveway, who I don't want to wake up, waiting for a tow truck that they're telling me it's going to be at least an hour. I didn't take my cell phone with me. Did you guys feel that? Because you don't have your cell phone all of a sudden, right? And so now the anxiety sets in because how can I contact the real world? Because it's dark out, but thankfully Nathan left his phone. The problem was, did I mention he's 16? This phone has been dropped in a hot tub. And at the same guy's house, he knocked it off of the counter onto the ground, and so the whole screen is shattered. It's like shattered all the way down. At first it looks like, oh, that's kind of a neat screensaver you have. Nope, it's the actual screen. So I'm like, well, I'll go on to ESPN because I need to calm down a little bit. Everything I hit won't go anywhere, so you have to hit it just right. And like I'm sitting there, and all I could think of was, I'm living the dream. I am living the life. Finally, the tow truck driver shows up. And at this point, you just want to get home, right? Now we're looking after midnight. The guy pulls up, and he is the nicest guy ever. And he gets out, and the first thing they do is they ask you the obvious question. They're like, so you stuck? There you go. He gets down the ground, he puts a flashlight on, he gets up and he goes, man, you are stuck. And so now we're stating the obvious. He asked me, is it okay to drive into the neighbor's yard with my big truck to pull your van out? I don't know the neighbors, so I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So he pulls into the neighbor. You can see the truck like starting to settle down as it was going down. But this guy that I'm at, he's like the biggest guy like I know. And like he could take this church up if he wanted kind of thing. And I told him, I said, if they have a problem, they can talk to him. Good luck talking to him because he's going to let them know what he thinks, right? So there's this truck and it's sinking down in the quicksand, which is their yard. He pulls the truck out. We go pulling up. He gets out of the truck and he's like, man, that wasn't so bad. And I go, you know what? It really wasn't so bad. And I said, what's your name? He says, my name's Will. And I go, your name's Will? And he's like, yeah. And I go, that's really kind of a Christian name. He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, we always talk about the will of God and my will and your will and thy will and all those other kind of things. He goes, you know what's funny you said that because I really need to be in church more. And I need to spend time there. And I got to remember that because that, when you said that, that reminded me of my mom. And the thing that she used to always say to me, where there's a will, there's a way. There's a will, there's a way. And so we talked for a little bit longer, and I told him about the church, and told him, showed him on his phone, and he could add the little app for the High Point Christian app. So you can watch the messages whenever you want. I hope they help. But I got to tell you, man, I'm leaving with thinking, where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's God's will, there's God's way. And I got in, and I'm driving away, and I thought, you know what? I'm living the dream. I'm living the life. Because here's a guy I'd never met before, and if my 16-year-old son, who doesn't know how to drive backward, and still doesn't know how to drive backward, gets me stuck in my friend's own driveway, and I get to meet someone like that. I had this opportunity to reach someone, but you know what was amazing? He had the opportunity to reach me. He was so positive. He was so excited about being there. He didn't care that it was midnight. He was talking, joking, laughing, all those other kind of things. It took every single part of the fear, the anxiety, the doubt, all those things that were going on, like, am I ever going to get out of here? What time is it? I need to be in bed. I need to get home. All those other kind of things, all of it went away. Just from one person and their choice to be kind. Doing the job that God called them to do late at night. But he chose to turn life around for just some guy that happened to be stuck. But doesn't it happen to us in our faith many times? And we talk about, well, what's this reason for the season? We want to live up and step up with our faith. We want to show that faith to others. We want others to see that faith in us. But many times, we're so busy going about our schedules and going in our directions and doing all the things that we have to do and we have to get done. The turkey has to be on by this time. We have to get it by this time. It has to be thawed by this time. You have to have these ready for Thanksgiving. Now we've got to get these dates. Oh, it's Black Friday. We've got to shop here. We've got to go there. Then we've got to get this one. Oh, did we get enough for this kid? We did enough get enough for this kid? Is it even out? We do all these things day after day and week after week, and it all is about stuff and stuff and stuff. And because of that, many times, we don't even think about dreaming. We don't think about living. If you're a high school student, it's just like, oh, when Christmas break, please get here. If you're a college student, Lord, just please let us get through exams. And then the first 3 or 4 days that we're home, we're like, when does school start back again? And the first 3 or 4 days that you're home, the parents are like, when does school start back again? We're in work and we're thinking, oh my goodness, all the important people are taking their vacations and taking that time off, and why can't I take a vacation? Or we're sitting there going, man, I deserve 2 or 3 weeks vacation, and yet I don't have that time to take it off because I feel I'm going to be further behind if we don't take any of it. And we get to that point where we're just not really living anymore. So how can we set an example during this Christmas time? How is it that we can set ourselves apart so that each day we can stop at the end of the day and we can start the day and say, you know what? I am dreaming a little bit. And I am living a little bit. And tomorrow I'm going to dream a little more. And I'm going to live a little more. And whether it's as a husband or a wife or as a parent or a grandparent or as a friend or as a fellow student or teammate, I'm going to show a little bit of light in this dark world so people can see a difference in me. But before we ever do that, it's a conversation that we need to have with God to make the choice to do so. We're going to start where we should start, with a young lady by the name of Mary today, which is where we're going to start in Luke chapter 1. And here is this young lady. I want you to remember something about her. She's anywhere between 13 and 16 years of age, and she's about to have the encounter of a lifetime. It's not a tow truck driver. It's not the Salvation Army person that's ringing the bell. It's not the person that is checking out her groceries. It's not the person that when they go to the gym that opens the door for them. It's none of those other kind of things. She's going to have an encounter that's going to come up that is going to change her life. And it's an opportunity for her to step up or to step out. It's an opportunity for her to make a choice of, do I want to live this dream? Do I want to live the life that God has set before me? Or do I just want to keep on drudging through day after day? We're going to start in chapter 1, starting in what we know as the birth of Jesus foretold, verse 26. It says, in the 6th month, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph. Now, it's very key that you understand this. When it talks about the 6th month, the 6th month that it is talking about does not refer necessarily to the 6th month of the year. It's actually talking about the 6th month of John the Baptist, who's going to be born and is now entering his third trimester. So that 6th month refers to John the Baptist because John the Baptist is coming before Jesus, so it's referring to him. And Gabriel is now showing up. Gabriel shows up 3 times in the Bible. He shows up to Daniel, he shows up to Zechariah, and now he's showing up again to this young girl who is about to be married to this guy by the name of Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. The angel went to her and said, greetings, you are highly favored. The Lord is with you. Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. So she stops for a second. All of a sudden, this angel shows up. And here's this angel in front of it. And this angel says, greetings, you are highly favored. You who are highly favored. And what takes place is that Mary is greatly troubled. And you wonder, why in the world would this person, has this angel who has suddenly shown up right here in her midst, why is it that she would be greatly troubled? And so I ask you, How would you react if an angel suddenly showed up before you? How would you react if there was an angel with you? Did you know the Bible in Hebrews tells us that we're ministering and being ministered by angels, and we don't even realize it? We were sitting down yesterday, Dan and I, with a gal from our community, and we started talking about angels. And so she shared this story of her mom, which is this, Emma, that is the daughter, her grandmother that was coming up from West Virginia, and they were moving up. And as they were coming up, someone rear-ended them on 77, and their car, ready for this, flipped 500 feet and rolled over and over and over and landed in the median, and they were fine. But everything they owned was strewn all over the place. So her mom and Emma's grandma sat in the median, and they're sitting there and obviously very well just kind of shaking. So a lady came by, a black lady came by, grabbed her Bible off all the stuff and sat down with her and put the Bible next to her to help her to calm down. And so it got her to the point where she was able to stay calm, she was able to read from it, and God's Word was able to help her to relax and just to chill out, and she was good to go. Eventually, everyone ended up being fine. They ended up moving up here. They had to go back down to meet with the police and go through all the accident reports and all that kind of stuff. And so the mom wanted to be able to write this lady a note. And so she asked, did you happen to take down the lady's name that was sitting next to me that calmed me down? The two police officers that were on the site said, which lady was that? And she said, the lady when I was sitting down that was sitting next to me, she was a black lady, she was sitting next to me, she brought me my Bible, she helped me to calm down, and both officers looked and said, there was no one that was sitting next to you at any time during that day. How would you react? How would you react looking back? How would you react if right now the person sitting next to you was an angel? If I was sitting next to my wife, I'd say the person sitting next to me is an angel. Yeah. Okay, but just to make sure, who wants to pinch the person next to them, just to make sure? Go ahead, pinch him. Pinch him or her. Any angels here? Yep, lots of them. Okay, I'm looking out real quick just so you know. One of the husbands got pinched so much that the wife is actually rubbing his arm right now. Hey, honey, you should have been nice to me this morning. He's going, ow! All right? We don't know. We don't have any idea, but how is it that we would react? See, that's what we don't understand. Every new person that we come in contact with, we don't even realize could be an angel. How are you treating that person? How are you looking to treat that person? In this dark time of the year, are you even looking at being a light for them? I'm going to take the extra time to hold that door open. I saw someone drop some stuff. I'm going to help pick that stuff up. I see someone in need of help with their groceries. I'm going to at least offer to help. I'm going to grab the heavy stuff and pick the heavy stuff up. I'm going to go through, and when the person is at the grocery store, I'm going to instead of her picking the water up, here I'm going to pick the water up, boom, use that, I'm going to put it back down for her. Do we look for those opportunities? Man, it's cold out, miss, and you do not have a coat. Can I go ahead and finish pumping that gas for you? Yes, I know that I'm 3 minutes behind, but I'm going to call my wife to let her know. Can I go ahead and pump that gas for you? Do we look for those opportunities? Because God is going to bring people in your midst every single day. That means right in the middle of your life. How are you going to treat them? It's Christmas time. Are we living the dream? Are we living the life? Are we being an example of living the Christmas dream? Of being the Christmas life? Because this is what's about to take place before Mary. And she doesn't even realize it. She doesn't know yet. She just knows she's greatly troubled because here in front of her is an angel. And she knows enough about God's Word, and she's been taught enough about God's Word that says this. Hey, guess what? If I come to you and I show up to you and I give you my Word, your life is going to change drastically. Are you ready for it? And for most of us, the answer is no. And you know what? I know I got a busy schedule. I know I've got 15,000 emails. I know I have all these other things that are going on. But man, I just got to get through my day because I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. How are things going, man? I'm living the dream. I'm living the life. While person after person is walking within our midst, and we're not even taking the time to greet them. That Christmas dream, that Christmas life says we're going to take enough time to show Christ to that person. But if I challenged you and said, are you ready for that? I would say most of us would be greatly troubled by that. That means I have to greet them. That means that customer that's a pain I have to talk to. That means that my spouse that I haven't spoken to in 3 days because, what was it they did again? How was it they said that? My child who hasn't listened in weeks and weeks and weeks, you want to reach out and love them? You want to hug them? Whoever it is that God brings within our midst, when we think of those people, when we think of changing to make it a Christmas life before them, for whatever reason, we're greatly troubled. And for some of us, it's the opposite side. I'm going to live it during this Christmas season, and then the rest of the year I can go back to doing whatever it is I want to do. When Christ is in us and He is showing out light through us, it is a life change. Mary knows this is about to change everything. And because of what she's been brought up with, she knows about the prophets, she's heard about the prophets, she knows the things that have taken place. She was greatly troubled because how in the world are you going to use this 13 to 16-year-old girl before everyone because I'm a female and I'm looked down upon and I'm kind of a second-class citizen in my society. And you want to use me? Take your life where you are. God can use you. I'm just a blue-collar worker. I'm just in management. I only work 3 days a week. I'm retired. I'm only a student. Hey, I'm in college right now. God can use you. God can use anyone He chooses at any time. As we're going to see, the choice really comes back to us as to how we choose to live. So she's greatly troubled, and it says, in His words, and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. But the angel said to her, do not be afraid. That term shows up 365 times in the Bible. It reminds us daily that we have to have no fear taking out with us each day. This is a leap year. So there's 1 day a year. This year you get to be afraid, okay? Hopefully you already used it. 365 times it says, do not be afraid. And too many times every day we live by fear. The emotion of fear. What if that person's mean? What if that person's nasty? What if that person doesn't like me? What if that person looks at me funny? What if they don't greet me the right way? What if? And we live by that fear, this emotion of fear. And yet, God's saying to us, we don't need to be afraid. Because I'm with you. Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. As a believer, you have found favor. You ever thought about that way? I have found favor. I'm the only one that believes on my team. I'm the only one that believes in my class. I'm the only one that believes in my household. I'm the only one that believes at my workplace. You have found favor. Do not be afraid. That's an emotion that God does not give you. He doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. When will we start to live it? When we start living the Christmas dream. When we start living the Christmas life. Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God. You will be with child and give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus. Stop here for a second. She's a teenager. 13 to 16 years old. She's about to get married. She's already got her life planned out. These are the steps that we take. These are the steps that other people took. These are the steps that I've seen. I go off, we get married, we have kids. We have 2.3 kids. We have a picket fence. We have a dog. Everything's good, right? That's her plan. Her life is being completely changed right now. And she has to make the choice, not only to change, but whether or not she wants to put away that life from before so that she can be a light for Christ. To live the first ever Christmas life. So here she is, and she has to make this choice, and it says, he will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father, and he will reign over the house of Jacob forever. His kingdom will never end. So she's being told, listen, this isn't just a step for here and now. This is eternal. Your friends that are walking toward hell every single day, hey, listen, I'm going to keep loving you and being a light for you because guess what? You're walking to hell every day, and that choice you're making is not just a choice here and now. It is an eternal one. I'm going to tell you something. God's found favor with me. And God wants me to be a light. And I know it may sound crazy, and I know it may sound corny, but man, there's just more to this life than all the stuff we're chasing. There's more to this life than just the stuff that sits before that Christmas tree. There's more to this life than just that video game or that car or whatever it is that you're so focused upon. There's more to this life. And this time that we have together, there's got to be more to this. And it's not just for the here and now. It's eternal. Those people that come with us in our midst, those people that God brings into our life, every single temporary greeting has an eternal meaning. Think about that for a second. Every single temporary meeting has an eternal meaning. I said that wrong, didn't I? Every single temporary greeting has an eternal meaning. I met some of you for the first time today. You met me for the first time today. Okay, I'm a pastor, right? We work an hour a week, right? We just sit back and, and we don't do anything, and bring that guy, and, at least go pray, and that kind of stuff, right? All right. But then when we come in, we're going to introduce you, and oh my goodness, that's the pastor. So I'm going to say, hey, this is Pastor John. I don't usually introduce myself as Pastor John. I go, hey, I'm John, how are you? And then they're like this. People go like, he's the pastor. People do this like, Chandler this week had to take some tape of me for his class project. And the whole class project, the whole thing is to show that I'm normal. Why are you laughing? That was not a joke in any way, shape, or form. Okay, obviously he's going to get an F. Chandler, you might want to change your project, right? But he was trying to show that the same way that I am up here is the same way that I am in society. The same way that I act when I'm up here is the same way when I greet people. Whether it's the tow truck driver or the deli person, whoever it might be, it's the same. And the goal is to, before people living that Christmas life, being that light to others. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't go in and go, oh my gosh, I'm meeting you for the first time. Did I show you light? Did you see light in me? Because I'm a pastor. Just in case. How weird would that be if you brought me along? No one's inviting me anywhere, right? No one's doing that. But people, when they meet me for the first time, it's John, it's one way. Then all of a sudden it's Pastor John, whoa. The entire thing changes. Now watch how this changes. You ready? Everyone, this is Patty. Say hi to Patty. Hi. Okay? Everyone, this is John. Say hi to John. Hi, John. Can I hug you? Did you see how she greeted me? That's light. Okay? Just kidding. Okay, here we go. Ready? This is Chris, this is Hernan, this is Don. Now, here we go. Ready? What if all of a sudden I introduce him? This is believer Don. This is child of God Hernan. With his wife, child of God Tanya. Does that change things? This is Chris, she is the light. That'd be weird, right? That'd be odd. It's up to us to choose to be that light. We don't have to put a title to it. It's in our actions before we ever... What was that guy's name again? What was that girl's name? I don't know, but I'll tell you what. They sure were nice. They were the first people that were nice to me this entire day. They were the first person that made eye contact with me the entire day. They were the first person that showed me a little bit, you know what? They are the nicest Christian people. And we have no problem saying it, do we? I'm serious. I go to church with them, and you can't believe how kind they are. If you walk into my church, Don's going to hug you like you would not believe. He's going to squeeze the life out of you. And he's going to whack in your chest, and you're going to breathe again, and everything's going to be good. We choose. You choose. I choose whether or not to be that light, both in here and outside of here. What is it you're choosing? Because many times, you know what? That means I'm going to have to make a change. That means I'm going to have to take the face that I've been putting on outside of here, and I'm going to have to put the same face that I have on here every single day. Hey, let me ask you a question. Those greetings you have out there that are temporary, and the way when you're in here it's eternal, which is more important? Yet too many times we live in fear. Watch what happens to Mary. How will this be? She says, what? Mary asked the angel, since I am a virgin. The angel answered, the Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God. Even Elizabeth, your relative, is going to have a child in her old age, and she she who was said to be barren is in her 6th month. Remember the 6th month? She's in her 6th month. So the first thing is, Mary speaks back to the angel. In other words, here we go, you ready? How are we going to live this Christmas life? How are we going to be this Christmas light? How are we going to live this dream every single day? You have to start with courage. You have to be courageous. And courage is not an emotion. Fear is an emotion. Don't get that confused. Courage is not an emotion. Courage is a choice. I'm going to be strong enough to step up before you. I'm going to be strong enough to be a light. I'm going to be strong enough to hold a door. I'm going to be strong enough to show you how much I care before I show how much it is that I know. But you're going to see a difference in me because this is a dark world, and I'm choosing to live the Christmas life. Where's it start? With something I am choosing to do by being courageous. Guys, that's what the study's coming about this week. It's starting this week. Will we choose to step out to be courageous in the small moments, in the big moments, with the people that I know, with the people that I love, and with people I've never met before that God is going to bring into my life starting today within our midst? Mary was courageous enough to have a conversation with an angel, which meant she had already said, okay, if you're going to make this change in my life, if you're going to change me from the inside out, even though I'm a little bit troubled about it and I'm freaking out a little bit, I'll accept it. I'm going to step up to do so. The conversation continues. It says, the angel answered, the Holy Spirit will come upon you. Shares all that. Verse 37 says, for nothing is impossible with God. Listen, for nothing is impossible with God. What's in your life right now you're saying, it's impossible? I've had this addiction for so many years, it's impossible for it to change. I can't fix it. I've been so bad with my finances, it's impossible for it to change. My heart is so dark, there's no way that any light's is going to come in. There's just no way. I'm so mean, I'm so angry, I doubt, I'm anxious, I'm worried, I'm worrisome, I'm all those things. I struggle with it every single day. There's no way, and yet the angel says they're first thing. And God says to you and I today that through God, all things are possible. Do you believe that? Because if you believe it, the next step is that you're going to take that step in faith every day that God says, yes, this is possible. Faith is not an emotion. Faith, once again, is a choice. I was reading a story about a guy who was like, listen, you know, the Bible says, as far as when it comes to my finances, it's the only time that God challenges, and so I've been giving and giving and giving, and God's not giving back. And I don't understand it because it says to challenge it here. Because he said, the more that I give, the more I should be getting in return, and, you know, all this prosperity stuff going back and forth. And his friend looked at him and said, let me ask you a question. Have you truly prayed about this? The guy's like, no, I just gave. Okay, well, don't you think by a step of faith that you should also be praying about it? And when he prayed about it, this is what God said to him, just in a still small voice. You want to live by faith, yet you don't want to be faithful. You want to live by faith, yet you don't want to be faithful. You say that you want to live by faith, yet your actions and your body language and the things that you do show no faith. The way that you act outside of here is not the way that you act inside of here. The way that you treat people on Sunday is not the way that you treat people Monday through Saturday. And so now all of a sudden, you want me to bless you in one area, and then you don't even give the other areas to me. You don't care enough to. You're leading a double life. You're doing the things that you want to do. And then all of a sudden, you just want me to show up and fix everything magically. Living by faith means being faithful. Full of faith. And it's a choice we make with every moment that God blesses each one of us with. So if you're struggling from the faith standpoint, are you being faithful? Because faithful is a full-time commitment. Mary chose to be faithful because she understood, just as this angel said to her, for nothing is impossible with God. And the only way I'm going to live my faith is if I believe that nothing is impossible with God alongside of me. That's being faithful. The last part, it says, I am the Lord's servant. Mary answered, may it be so, can't even read. May it be to me as you have said. Then the angel left her. The final thing she says, I'm the Lord's servant. Mary answered, may it be to me as you have said. Then the angel left her. So this final conversation she has is this. Hey, you know what? This freaked me out a little bit at first. Now, you're calling me to help people. You're calling me to love people. You're calling me to care for them. You're calling me to live the dream. You're calling for me to live this life. You're taking away my old life. Oh my goodness. And you're going to put me in this life where I need to be courageous and faithful. And I've got to make a choice. I'm going to choose to be courageous. I'm going to choose to live my faith before people. And I'm going to surrender that to you. In all I say. In all I do. In each person that comes before me. See, when it says, I'm going to be your servant, what Mary is literally saying is, I'm going to love everyone that comes within my midst. I'm going to love the stranger. I'm going to love the person who doesn't believe as I believe. I'm going to love the person who doesn't believe at all. I'm going to love that person that's angry all the time. I'm going to love the person who has a different religious philosophy than I do. I'm going to love that person who has a different skin tone than I do. I'm going to love the opposite gender. I'm going to love the same gender. I am no longer going to be biased in any way, shape, or form. Tall, skinny, female, male, whatever it might be. I'm going to surrender to what it is that you have, God, for me. So let's circle this all the way back. Because so many times in life, we get to that point where we're like, are you kidding me? You know, I'm out here surrendering. You know, I've been courageous. I've been faithful. So come on, God, when are you going to show up? Because that teacher's a jerk. That coach is an idiot. And that person just cut me off on the road. And I'm really getting tired of doing the right thing over and over and over again. And nobody's noticing. And I'm not hearing anything about it. And I'm not seeing my name in the headlines. And no one's talking about what a great guy John is. How great the things that John did is. But boy, they're pointing out all my flaws. This isn't between you and them. It's between you and God. So when you make this choice to live that Christmas life, this was a choice that Mary made before God and with God. She just happened to tell this message of the angel. So for you and I, once again, it's our choice. Do I choose to be a light to others that I meet today? Do I choose to be a light to those that God has blessed me with every day? Do I choose to be a light to my spouse, to my kids, to the people that I love, and to that stranger I've never met before? It comes down to what we choose. This feeling of fear, this emotion of fear, or of having an attitude like Mary did, this teenage girl who's going to have to tell her parents, oh, by the way, I'm having a baby. And I know I'm only 16. And I know I haven't graduated from high school. And guess what? I've never even had, what's the oldest kid I have here? That. Everyone follow me? I still don't know how old the kids are. I have to be careful here, okay? That hasn't happened. Mom and Dad probably aren't going to believe this a whole lot. But let me tell you something. But I met this angel. And this angel said, how's that conversation going to go with Mom and Dad? Her attitude was this. God, if you want to use me, God, if you want me to be a light, God, if you're choosing me, God, if you found favor in me, I'm going to choose to be courageous. I'm going to choose to live my faith by being faithful. And finally, I'm just going to give it all to you. I'm surrendering it. Lord, help me every day to have that attitude, especially during Christmas time, to live that dream and to live that life, and to be that Christmas light to others. It's a choice you make and a choice I make every day. As Matt and Robin come up, I want you to just take a couple minutes. I just want you to rest right where you are. Just bow your heads, close your eyes here just for a little bit.